The sky above the Sky Shield orbital station was drenched in the disturbing light of distant stars when young Space Marine Jasper Evans, who had just begun his service on Terra, set out on another mission into the depths of the cosmic vacuum. His eyes, full of determination and rapturous curiosity, reflected the infinite possibilities of the universe. But fate was preparing him for a challenge that would change the course of interstellar conflict forever. Clad in a state-of-the-art exoskeleton developed in the secret laboratories of Earth Command, Jasper had no idea that his mission would result in a meeting with a secret force capable of shaking the most established space empires. His squad, composed of brave fighters with different fates and characteristic American names, not too commonplace but memorable, was quietly advancing through the labyrinth of asteroid fields, where every tiny particle could become a deadly weapon. Meanwhile, far in the core of the interstellar void, the enemy was already preparing his ambush. Jasper remembered how recently he had trained on simulators, believing that real battles could only be skillfully reproduced programs. But now his senses were sharpened to the limit. His heart raced to the rhythm of the systems as the faint signal on the tactical display suddenly blinked. The squad halted in motionless anticipation, and then the order came over the communicator. Be alert, possible ambush group. In the turmoil of flickering electronic panels and humming jet engines, Jasper felt his instincts pulling him into an unknown vortex of events where every second could be his last. Laser beams and flickering pulses of energy flickered in the distance, heralding the approach of an alien force whose nature was as mysterious as it was threatening. At first it seemed like a routine training exercise, a high-risk maneuver, a test of the latest weaponry. But as Jasper neared the edge of the safe maneuvering zone, enemies suddenly slipped from the dark depths, aggressively shimmering silhouettes, unlike any known life form, emerged from weightlessness, and their smooth, almost graceful movements contrasted with their deadly intent. The sudden attack took the squad by surprise, and in the chaos of the firefight, Jasper found himself face to face with an enemy whose movements were so elusive as to seem almost illusory. The explosions of microparticles and plasma discharges were blinding, and the space around him seemed to be distorted by a force beyond normal physics. As Jasper desperately tried to regain control of the situation, one of his defenses failed, and his consciousness was enveloped in a haze of torn space, where time seemed to stop, and his voice through the communicator sounded beyond comprehension. His last thoughts before losing control were filled with determination and faith in the honor for which he had fought. Faith in a humanity that, despite all adversity, had always found the strength to go forward. So on the edge of a fragment of consciousness, he felt the icy touch of alien hands, and his body was drawn into a merciless maelstrom of events that would forever change the balance of power in the galaxy. Earth's distant command centers were soon plunged into panic and bewilderment. The signal of loss of communication with one of the best fighters, Space Marine Jasper Evans, was a wake-up call, a harbinger of something ominous. On Terra, at the heart of Earth Command headquarters, emergency meetings were taking place with incredible speed. General Robert Flynn, a man with a steady gaze and extraordinary intuition, assembled a team of top strategists to assess the threat and determine exactly what had happened in that remote sector of space. The information transmitted through encrypted channels was fragmentary and filled with contradictions. Some sources claimed that Jasper had been captured, others that his ship had been attacked by anomalous forces capable of changing the very laws of nature. The situation was complicated by the fact that the report of the missing fighter quickly spread through military circles, causing a storm of controversy and doubt. Many believed that it was just another tactical ploy in the intricacies of hostile maneuvers, but high-ranking analysts pointed out that Jasper's disappearance could not have been an accident. There was a theory that he had been captured by agents of a mysterious race that had long waged a covert war against Earth, the Enterons, beings whose culture and technology were so alien that any presence automatically signaled the beginning of a new era of interstellar conflict. At this crucial moment, when the fate of one soldier became a symbol of the fate of an entire civilization, the command made a fateful decision: to declare Jasper Evans missing and immediately launch an operation to rescue him. In the headquarters of Earth Command at that moment reigned tense silence, interrupted only by soft discussions and the mechanical hum of computing machines. High-ranking officers, among whom were talented strategists with names unencumbered by banality, General Robert Flynn, Admiral Stephen Marshall, and Operative Derek Harris, were looking for answers to questions that seemed insoluble. Each of them understood. The loss of one soldier was not just a human tragedy, but a sign that forces capable of challenging Earth were ready to act decisively and without mercy. It was at this point that a bold initiative was taken that would overturn the usual understanding of the galactic balance of power. The command decided to utilize secret developments that were being worked on in Earth's most classified laboratories. These technologies, created under conditions of extreme necessity and surrounded by secrecy, promised to take Earth's military capabilities to a whole new level. Desperate for a retaliatory strike, Earth announced the launch of a rescue mission to retrieve Jasper at any cost. At that moment, even the most powerful civilizations, watching the events with undisguised surprise, realized that humans were capable of going to extreme measures to save one of their own, and this step could radically change the course of galactic events. The headquarters screens flashed with maps, charts, and tactical diagrams, where each line signified the movement of enemy forces, and each peak a potential threat. Attention was focused on the sector that had last recorded activity related to Jasper's disappearance. In the depths of space, where cold and stillness reigned, a new round of conflict was brewing. Determination, fervor, and cold logic were merging into one, and the world around them would never go back to the way it was. The humans, realizing that their opponents were ready to do anything to hold on to their conquered positions, decided to use their secret technology as a weapon not only for defense, but also for offensive, to show that behind every step of the Earth is a power that can resist even the most formidable enemies. A new day brought with it the first signs of large-scale mobilization. Secret developments stored in top-secret hangar complexes suddenly became available to Earth Command, and engineers, scientists, and soldiers with unique skills began working to create a rescue fleet that had only been dreamed of before. In these laboratories, where time seemed to slow down under the onslaught of necessity, technology was born that could warp space and time, allowing ships to become nearly invisible to enemy sensors and hit targets with astonishing accuracy. The chief architect of this breakthrough was Dr. Evan Brooks, a talented scientist with a deep sense of patriotism and an unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit, whose name quickly became a legend among the staff. The best minds on Earth worked with him, and their joint work became a symbol that even in the darkest of times, humanity can unite to achieve a common goal. The rescue fleet, built with the latest technology, quickly became a legend, spreading to every corner of Earth Command. Every ship in this formation was equipped with innovative quantum engines, plasma cannons, and cloaking systems that allowed them to practically blend into the cosmic background. Even those who had watched interstellar warfare unfold over the years could not believe their eyes. Earth's secret developments promised to upend the usual balance of power, challenging the notion that humans had always been one step behind their enemies. General Robert Flynn and Admiral Stephen Marshall, along with Operative Derek Harris, personally oversaw the assembly and preparation of the fleet, knowing that every second counted in this battle for Earth's honor and future. Behind the scenes, in classified rooms and under the flickering light of screens, the details of the operation, route plans, and strategies for infiltrating behind enemy lines were discussed. A key element was the use of so-called shadow phasers devices capable of distorting the space-time continuum around ships, making them invisible to standard scanning systems. These devices had only been tested in theory, and now, with the fate of Jasper Evans at stake, their use had gone from scientific fantasy to a vital reality. In an environment where any mistake could have disastrous consequences, every detail of the operation was honed to perfection, and the very presence of the fleet inspired awe in even the most indifferent officers. The men realized that their response was not just the saving of a single soldier, but a symbol of an unwavering will to live and a readiness to defend their own, despite the scale of the threat. In this complex and dangerous world, where alien races and galactic empires played an endless game of domination, Earth's decision to launch a rescue mission was a real challenge for the entire galactic system. New technologies that had previously seemed like science fiction were about to enter the fray, and even the most powerful civilizations, accustomed to the status quo, felt it was time to rethink their ideas about human strength and capabilities. Every officer, engineer, and soldier involved in the operation felt the weight of responsibility to save one of their own had become a matter of honor that would prove to the entire cosmos. The human spirit and ingenuity can work miracles even where there seemed to be no hope. The rescue fleet, shining with new technologies, went to the heart of the enemy territory, where according to the latest information, the forces responsible for the kidnapping of Jasper Evans were hiding. The spaceships, designed with the latest advances in quantum physics, glided through the star corridors at unprecedented speeds, leaving only thin traces of warped space behind them. On the bridges of the command ships, there was a tense silence. Every thought, every order could become decisive in this operation. The commander of the rescue team, Lieutenant Kevin Archer, a man with deep eyes and calm determination, personally supervised every stage of the flight, constantly communicating with the main control centers. His confidence and ability to act quickly in the face of extreme uncertainty inspired faith even in those who had previously doubted Earth's capabilities. Traveling through space was not without its dangers. The rescue fleet encountered small patrols of enemy forces that tried to disrupt the operation using outdated but still dangerous detection systems. However, Earth's secret technology offered a distinct advantage. Ships hidden in the shadows of warp space could stealthily approach their targets, delivering precision strikes against enemy forces. Lieutenant Archer and his team conducted a series of spot raids that not only neutralized the threat, but also gathered important intelligence on the location of enemy bases and force concentrations. Each of these sorties was accompanied by detailed analysis and route adjustments, which helped avoid mass confrontations and minimize casualties. During one such raid, flying past clouds of space dust and shards of destroyed satellites, the rescue fleet received a signal that made the commander's hearts race. The radio lines were transmitting an encrypted message containing the coordinates of an unknown object whose activity matched the parameters previously observed in the area of Jasper's abduction. Intuitive instinct and careful analysis of the data suggested that this was a key piece of the puzzle that could point to the hostage's location. Every second seemed like an eternity, and Lieutenant Archer gave orders with cold precision, knowing that the success of the operation depended on the speed and accuracy of their actions. The rescue fleet, as a unit, moved along a complex path, calibrated to the millimeter, and every ship, every onboard module worked in concert, as if forming a symphony of technical genius and human will. In this swift and almost silent cosmic dance, where even the smallest deviation from the course could be a fatal mistake, there was a sense of danger, but also hope. Hope that the return of a single soldier could change the course of an entire civilization. The command of the rescue fleet kept on course, knowing full well that their mission was not just an act of military operation, but a symbol of a new era in interstellar relations, where technology and the human spirit could become an equal force against even the most formidable enemies. Every member of the team, from the most junior specialist to the most experienced officer, felt this mission as a personal challenge, where success or failure could change not only the course of the war, but also the very idea of what man was capable of in the ruthlessness of space. The arrival of the rescue fleet in the region, where according to the intelligence data, the abduction object was located, was accompanied by a wave of anticipation and tension, growing with every passing minute. The signal transmitted through the quantum channels confirmed. Deep within the misty cluster of asteroids lurked the main center of hostile forces, belonging to the mysterious race of Intar's beings, of whom one could only hear about in vague legends and unreliable reports. These enemies, so alien in their essence, possessed technology capable of manipulating energy in the space-time continuum, and their tactics were based on lightning-fast attacks and complete stealth. But Earth's secret weapons, developed in the bowels of classified laboratories, promised to upend the usual balance of power. Lieutenant Kevin Archer, on the bridge of the command ship, scrutinized the holographic maps, where bright lights marked the positions of enemy patrols, and most importantly, a suspicious object matching the parameters of the kidnapped Jasper. "We're getting closer," he said quietly, and his voice, calm and confident, traveled through every ship in the fleet. Every soldier, every technician felt that the decisive moment was coming. The moment when all the effort invested in developing the latest technology would take on its true meaning. The first contacts with enemy patrols were not long in coming. At the edge of the asteroid field appeared small enemy ships armed with obsolete but still deadly energy weapons. The rescue fleet, using shadow cloaking systems, began a series of maneuvers that allowed them to approach the target unnoticed. The spaceships glided past the enemy sentries like ghosts, leaving only the faint echo of warped space behind them. Every shot, Every laser pulse was recorded by the security systems, and the operational modules immediately corrected the course, avoiding direct collision with the enemy. At that moment, the holographic screens lit up with new data. The coordinates of the suspicious object previously spotted were now being confirmed by multiple sensors. It was the moment of truth, the signal that indicated that it was in this maze of rocky debris that the key to Jasper Evans' rescue was hidden. Rescue Fleet Command instantly made a decision. Immediately conduct a special landing party to reconnoiter and make contact with hostile entities. Lieutenant Archer, knowing that the fate of the entire fleet hangs in the balance, personally supervised the deployment of tactics, confident that human ingenuity and courage will help overcome any obstacles. The operation began with a precision comparable only to a work of art. Small landing modules, equipped with the latest in robotics and stealth systems, traveled to the intended target location. Inside these modules, surrounded by a myriad of flickering devices, fighters trained to operate in total darkness and uncertainty silently prepared to meet the enemy. Each of them realized that their mission was not just the rescue of one soldier, but a test for the entire human race. A test of the strength of spirit, the willingness to take risks even when it seems that all the odds are against you. In those moments, there was silence, filled with the anticipation of a great battle that would forever change the course of galactic history. Pushing through the narrow passageways of the asteroid field, the landing party, led by experienced officer Lieutenant Derek Harris, finally reached the fortified enemy base where, according to intelligence, Jasper Evans was being held. The structure of the base was an elaborate complex molded into the rock itself, with turrets flickering with cold light and sensors scanning every inch of space. The secrecy and sophistication of the defenses betrayed a high degree of enemy preparation. The Enterons used technology capable of suppressing not only weapon systems, but also thought processes, allowing them to anticipate the enemy's moves. But that was what made the operation even more exciting. Human ingenuity and courage always found a loophole where it seemed to be a foregone conclusion. Lieutenant Harris, hiding in the shadows of the massive structures, led the reconnaissance while keeping in constant communication with the command center of the rescue fleet. The cloaking systems allowed the men to blend in with their surroundings as if they were part of the base itself, and to operate undetected. Every step, every movement was calculated to the millimeter, from the quietest rustle in the space dust to the tiniest sound that could give away their presence. While the enemy's high-tech sensors tried unsuccessfully to pick up the slightest fluctuation, the squad moved forward like shadows directed toward the heart of the enemy's lair. There was an atmospheric tension inside the base, as if the matter itself was imbued with fear of the inevitable clash with human will. Only the distant hum of machinery could be heard along the corridors carved into the stone, and time seemed to slow down, preparing the ground for the decisive battle. Lieutenant Harris and his team, dressed in special suits that allowed them to withstand enemy energy fields, began searching for the cell where the kidnapped soldier was being held, according to the data they had received. Each step was accompanied by fleeting glances into the side corridors, where the enemy could be hiding, ready to strike at any moment. But the fighters did not waver their training. Discipline and unwavering belief in justice gave them the strength to continue even in the most dangerous conditions. Sneaking up to the center of the complex, the squad discovered a narrow door, behind which there was apparently a detention room. The door's security system was more complex than that of conventional facilities. Several levels of biometric and quantum identification that required not only accurate readings, but also emotional synchronization with the access code. Here, in these unfriendly conditions, the true essence of human ingenuity was revealed. The squad's engineer, a young specialist named Ryan Collins, was soon able, through a fine sense of rhythm and improvisation, to pick up an algorithm to bypass the security systems. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the door opened, revealing a dark, cold chamber where, behind massive energy candelabras, the lone silhouette of Jasper Evans stood, enveloped in the semi-darkness and heavy silence of confinement. The soldier, known for his fighting spirit and unyielding determination, looked exhausted but unbroken. His gaze, wandering between past and present, reflected the same determination that once burned in the eyes of everyone who fought for freedom. Despite the physical fatigue and signs of torture, Jasper's face still had a spark of life on it, the same spark that proved that the human spirit never fades, even in the darkest corners of the galaxy. Lieutenant Harris, realizing the importance of the moment, quietly gave the command to prepare for evacuation, knowing that every second counted against a ruthless enemy capable of manipulating the very fabric of reality. As the rescue party prepared to evacuate Jasper Evans, enemy sensors suddenly detected suspicious activity, a signal that could give away their presence. At this critical moment, when time seemed to slow down, the alert system's alarm sounded, signaling the approach of enemy forces. Lieutenant Derek Harris quickly commanded, "Everyone in position, prepare for battle." His voice, firm and decisive, was the last link in the fragile chain of hope the rescue party held out for the return of their battle buddy. At the same moment, the command center of the rescue fleet, which was in orbit around the destroyed planet, received an emergency message from the landing module. Specialists monitoring the operation through quantum channels detected a sharp change in the energy background of the enemy complex, as if the very nature around it began to vibrate from the impending threat. Engineer Ryan Collins, who had just bypassed the defense system, reported over the comms, "We've detected a failure in the security system. This is our chance to get Jasper outside." His words, filled with faith and determination, instantly echoed through all communications channels, causing a wave of joy and relief mixed with the acute realization that the battle was far from over. In the cell where Jasper was, time seemed to stand still, the silence broken only by the quiet whirring of the power generators. The soldier, who had endured unimaginable ordeals, looked up when he heard the first signs of release. His gaze met the determined faces of the fighters who, despite all the threats, carried the light of hope in this dark place. At the same instant, a booming voice outside the cell, full of orders and a battle cry, broke the silence. "Evacuation has begun. Hold tight." Every second was worth its weight in gold, and the rescue squad, as a unit, began a rapid withdrawal, while covering the exit with the powerful fire of the secret weapon that was to stop the approaching wave of the enemy. Behind the walls of the enemy compound, the real battle began. The Entar forces, stunned by the unexpected breakthrough and the fury of human bravery, tried to mobilize their reserves, but the latest Earth technology gave them a significant advantage. Special energy shields activated on the latest models of rescue ships repelled attacks with incredible accuracy, and plasma units configured to operate in conditions of increased quantum instability left behind only clouds of sparks and shattered matter. Every shot, every flash of light was a symbol of the unyielding will that united the men into a single invincible force. Inside the complex, the corridors that had previously been completely silent were now filled with the sounds of fighting footsteps, silent commands, and shrill screams, indicating that the rescue team had encountered the last barrier to freedom. Lieutenant Harris, coordinating the fighters, entered the fray himself to cover Jasper's evacuation. His movements were swift and precise, like a master of an ancient martial art, and his every action was aimed at enabling his comrades to escape from the shackles of the enemy's lair. The hours passed, and it seemed as if the universe itself held its breath as it watched the human spirit embodied in each of the fighters confront the inhuman forces trying to consume them in the endless chaos of interstellar warfare. At that decisive moment, as the enemy began to retreat before the onslaught of human determination and secret technology, Jasper struggled to his feet and felt the cold hand of freedom touch his soul. He realized that salvation was more than just a homecoming. It was a symbol of victory over fear and hopelessness, a sign that even in the darkest corners of the galaxy, human will could make mountains. The enemy forces slowed, and the rescue party, surrounded by the shimmering glow of energy shields, began to move steadily toward the exit, leaving behind a terrifying trail of destruction and new hope. The scene of the decisive battle unfolded outside the enemy base, where the rescue fleet faced the last mighty offensive of the Entar forces, seeking to regain lost control of the region. The secret Earth technology utilized in this battle turned space into an arena where the laws of physics seemed mere conjecture and matter itself was subject to the will of human genius. Ships equipped with quantum engines and plasma cannons easily dodged enemy attacks, creating the illusion of a dance of light and darkness where every impulse could be a decisive blow. Lieutenant Kevin Archer, still in command of the rescue fleet, watched the battle with close attention, knowing that the fate of the operation depended on every last detail. Amid the bursts of energy and the rumble of destruction, the rescue ship crews acted in synchronicity, like clocks set to the same rhythm of victory. Energy barriers repelled the attacks, and innovative homing systems allowed them to precisely target the destructive discharges of the enemy ships. Each strike became a symbol of the determination of Earth, of every officer, of every soldier who was willing to sacrifice everything to save his comrade. Even those who had watched the space wars unfold over the years could not believe how far people were willing to go to bring back one of their own, and it was proof of their unwavering faith in their own strength. Amidst the chaotic flow of battles, the command of the rescue fleet received new information the enemy was about to organize a powerful counterattack, capable of breaking the lines of defense and regaining control of the territory. At this critical moment, engineer Ryan Collins activated the latest development of the quantum shield system, which allows to instantly activate a protective field that absorbs and redirects the energy of enemy attacks. The system worked with astonishing efficiency, and enemy cannons, faced with this insurmountable barrier, began to flicker like fireflies, deprived of the ability to penetrate the defense. Each such moment reinforced the rescue fleet's confidence that their technology, based on the deep principles of quantum physics, could provide an advantage in this decisive battle. The battle continued with unprecedented intensity as the laser discharges, the powerful rumblings of energy waves, and the endless clash of titans provided the backdrop for the heroism displayed by each soldier. Lieutenant Archer, seeing his men using courage and the latest technology to defeat the superior enemy forces, gave his orders with unperturbed calm. He realized that every second of this battle was a step towards a new stage in the history of the galaxy, where the Earth would no longer be a player, but an equal participant in the cosmic confrontation. Even in the thick of the battle, there were voices full of determination and patriotism, and every command, every module of the rescue fleet confirmed, human will can change the course of history. At this decisive moment, when all forces were concentrated in the fight for the future, the rescue fleet made a strategic maneuver that shook the entire galactic community. Under the cover of shimmering energies, the ships of the fleet, like a single organism, performed a series of maneuvers, making the enemy believe that the outcome of the battle was already predetermined. The Enterans, despite their technological power, were powerless against Earth's new weapon, a weapon born of passion, science, and the endless pursuit of freedom. Every shot, every impulse demonstrated not only the superiority of technology, but also the indestructible power of the human spirit, which no matter what, always seeks a path to victory. And so, as the battlefield lit up with the last flashes of energy, the enemy began to retreat, and the rescue fleet, led by determined officers, moved confidently towards the place where the freed soldier was waiting for them. This decisive moment was the culmination of the entire operation, a symbol that even the most powerful civilizations cannot resist human ingenuity and determination. The battle ended, leaving behind a trail of destruction, but also a glow of new hope that, like a dawn on the horizon, heralded a new era for Earth and the cosmos. Back in the rear, the rescue team, led by Lieutenant Harris, navigated the narrow corridors of the enemy compound to consolidate their victory and prepare for the evacuation of Jasper Evans. In this labyrinth of cold stone walls, where every sound was echoed by alien voices and where darkness hid not only enemy traps but also hope, the fighters felt a part of the old world fall away with every stroke of fate, giving way to a new, cruel, and beautiful cosmic order. Here, in the heart of the enemy, where secret technology and elaborate traps reigned, human courage and perseverance flashed with a bright light that could dispel any darkness. Lieutenant Harris led his men as if in a dance between life and death, trying not to give the enemy an opportunity to strike a surprise blow. Every step was accompanied by the flickering light of the energy lanterns installed in the corridors, and every glance was filled with the understanding that here, in this forgotten corner of the galaxy, the fate of an entire civilization was being decided. Far outside the complex, the rescue fleet was already preparing for the final stage of the operation to evacuate the freed soldier. But here, in the depths of the enemy base, time seemed to stretch out, giving the fighters a chance to feel the full weight of what they had endured, and to realize that their mission was not just a rescue mission, but a true test of the human spirit. On a narrow corridor, where the walls were covered with mysterious signs and symbols left by the ancient civilization of the Enterans, the squad suddenly encountered another obstacle by a group of guards equipped with advanced combat drones and energy shields. A brutal firefight ensued, in which every second was worth its weight in gold. The fighters, using tactical maneuvers and secret technologies, quickly took the defense, repelling attacks with surgical precision. Lieutenant Harris, without losing his composure, gave orders that sounded clear, rhythmic, and inevitable. His voice, full of determination and confidence, echoed through the corridors, inspiring faith that even in the heart of the enemy's lair, a man could find a way out. In one of the narrow rooms, surrounded by massive metal doors and guarded by a group of drones, the fighters found a secret control center, on which the entire security system of the complex depended. Here, among the wires and flickering screens, young specialist Ryan Collins, whose skills had proven their worth more than once, managed to open the system, disabling some of the security signals. His quick fingers raced across the keyboard, inputting complex algorithms to temporarily freeze the defense fields. This small victory was the key moment that opened the way to the main detention cell, where Jasper Evans was now clearly being held. In a few tense minutes, the squad advanced to the central hall, where their comrade-in-arms was imprisoned in the semi-darkness, lit only by the faint flicker of energy candelabras. The sight of him was indescribably tragic. The wounds of battle and the signs of torture told of his ordeal, but his eyes still burned with the spark of courage and faith. Jasper, despite his fatigue and pain, radiated the same unbroken strength that inspired everyone who saw him at that moment. His face, covered with dust and scars, was a mute testament to the human spirit's ability to withstand any adversity. Under the cover of night, with the enemy forces apparently weakened by an unexpected system failure, the squad stealthily organized an evacuation. Lieutenant Harris, keeping his hand on the pulse of what was happening, gave the order to prepare for the exit. The evacuation was so carefully planned that each soldier knew his exact place and time. There was no room for error. Even at this crucial moment, the rescue fleet's technology, designed for maximum secrecy and efficiency, showed its true power, allowing the soldiers to exit the complex unnoticed, leaving behind only a faint trail of light and hope. Every moment spent in these corridors was imbued with the pain of loss and the joy of salvation, and this contrast became a symbol of everything humanity believed in the struggle for life, for honor, for the future. The liberation of Jasper Evans was not just a victory in battle, but the beginning of a new era in which human courage and ingenuity could prove to the entire cosmos that even in the most hopeless circumstances, life would find a path to freedom. Finally, at the climax of the operation, as the rescue party with Jasper Evans aboard was leaving the enemy, a decisive battle unfolded in outer space between the Earth rescue fleet and the remnants of the Entar's forces trying to regain control of a strategically important sector. These last efforts of the enemy were desperate and indiscriminate attacks, backed by the last reserves of technology that could not match Earth's latest developments. In orbit around the site of the conflict, where plasma discharges and sparks of energy fields blended into a chaotic symphony of war, the commanders of the rescue fleet gave orders with cold precision, knowing that it was now that the fate of an entire civilization was being decided. Lieutenant Kevin Archer, watching the battlefield from his command ship, couldn't believe the fact that in a matter of days, humans had been able to assemble such a powerful fleet, equipped with technology capable of blurring the usual boundaries of what was possible. "This is not just a rescue mission, it's our statement to the entire cosmos," he told his crewmates, assuring them that the human spirit could defeat even the most formidable of enemies. At the same moment, the ship's energy-dependent systems activated maximum power mode, and the quantum engines began generating anomalous fields capable of distorting the very fabric of space around them. Each ship, like a pulsating organ, merged with the surrounding space, becoming a whole in which human mind and technology worked with unprecedented coherence. Aboard the rescue ship, where Jasper Evans was finally able to regain consciousness, medical teams quickly began administering first aid while liaising with command to coordinate further action. His face, covered in fatigue and pain, was slowly coming back to life under the attentive hands of the medics, and his eyes, full of determination, sought support from those who had come for him. Every second of this battle was filled with symbolism, and it was here, in the heart of enemy space, that humanity was proving that its strength lay not only in technology, but in unity, in love for its own, and in faith in a better future. The Entar forces, despite all their technological advances, began to retreat under the onslaught of Earth's determination and innovation. The enemy's last attempts to mount a counterattack were repelled by energy shields and then crushed by the powerful blasts of plasma cannons. The battlefield, once filled with chaos and fear, gradually filled with calm confidence. The human response was invincible. The commanders of the rescue fleet, exchanging short but meaningful remarks, realized that this very moment would be the turning point in the war. The moment when the balance of power in the galaxy would finally shift. Amid flashes of light and sounds of destruction as the enemy ships, one by one, disappeared into the abyss of space darkness, the rescue party steadily made their way to the evacuation point, where an evacuation cruiser awaited them, ready to take them to a safe orbit. The last commands, given with the utmost precision, testified to the fact that the human mind is capable of overcoming any obstacle, even if it means throwing oneself into the very flames of enemy fire. It was at this moment, when time seemed to have shrunk to the limit, that the rescue fleet completed the operation, consolidating its victory and paving the way for a new stage, where the return of one soldier became a symbol of a new beginning, and Earth itself a force to be reckoned with by all civilizations of the galaxy. In Earth orbit, as the rescue cruiser entered dock, the world of military analysts and politicians was rocked by the news that one of their most prized fighters, Jasper Evans, had been brought back alive. News of this epic rescue instantly spread throughout the galactic community, causing a wave of surprise and bewilderment. Even the most powerful empires, previously confident of their invincibility, found themselves shocked at how far humans were willing to go to bring back one of their own. On Earth, in command centers, authorities and scientists gathered to discuss the implications of the operation, realizing that Jasper's return was not just a military victory, but a symbol of a new era where human courage and ingenuity were becoming major factors in the cosmic confrontation. In the halls of headquarters, illuminated by the soft light of huge holographic screens, General Robert Flynn, Admiral Stephen Marshall, and Operative Derek Harris were analyzing the operation in detail. The reports on the technology used, the rescue tactics, and the extent of the clashes with the Antares forces sounded like a veritable symphony of military genius. Every word, every figure was proof that Earth had entered a new phase of space relations, where secret technologies previously considered science fiction were becoming reality. Dr. Evan Brooks, who led the development, proudly presented the results of his work, assuring that these technologies could not only protect mankind, but also bring it to a whole new level of development. The focus was not only on the return of Jasper Evans, but also on the very fact that the rescue operation was carried out using technology never seen before by any civilization. Quantum engines, invisibility systems, energy shields all became weapons capable of changing the course of interstellar conflict. The alien commanders, watching events from their distant bases, were forced to admit that humans were capable of more than they had ever been given credit for. These discussions included not only technical details, but also philosophical reflections on the nature of power, that true power lies not only in numbers and technology, but also in courage, the will to live, and the unity of a people. The public outcry on Earth over Jasper's rescue symbolized the unity of all walks of life, from ordinary soldiers to the highest levels of government. At press conferences broadcast around the globe, words of gratitude and recognition were heard. "We have recovered our fighter, and in doing so, we have proven that nothing can shake the resolve of mankind." In these speeches, there was not only joy, but also a sense of foreboding that the entire cosmos would now look at the Earth with renewed respect and caution. This historic moment was a starting point for a new strategy in which humans intended not only to protect their interests, but also to actively influence the balance of power throughout the galaxy. The events of the rescue operation, confirmed by independent sources and reproduced with incredible detail in the reports, became a subject of deep reflection for scientists and military analysts. Every detail, from the fragility of the quantum cloaking system to the bravery of the men who fought for their comrades' life, took on a significance beyond that of a normal military operation. People understood their struggle is not just a conflict with alien civilizations, but a struggle for the very concept of freedom, for the right to be heard, and for the opportunity to determine the future of the universe. As the rescue cruiser carrying Jasper Evans steadily entered Earth's orbit, the world seemed to hold its breath in anticipation of a new era. This moment was the starting point for spacefaring nations to take a fresh look at the forces ruling the galaxy and rethink their strategies at a time when the human spirit and innovative technology had proven themselves capable of changing the rules of the game. The events that followed the return of Jasper Evans quickly assumed the scale of an interstellar sensation. News of the epic rescue mission spread across the galaxy, sparking a wave of discussion, controversy, and anticipation of a new round of military conflict. Even ancient empires, seemingly unshakable, began to rethink their doctrines, realizing that Earth, armed not only with secret technology, but also with unyielding determination, could defy the most formidable foes. In diplomatic circles, requests for negotiations began to pour in, and galactic councils composed of representatives of many civilizations were trying to determine what steps Earth would take in the future. The leaders of the alien races, accustomed to the certainty of the superiority of their technology, were now confronted with the fact that human ingenuity and courage could work wonders. At this point, not only military calculations were on the agenda, but also questions about the possibilities of living together in an ever-changing balance of power. On Earth, in the highest echelons of government, not only the military, but also the strategic, economic, and cultural implications of Jasper's rescue were being discussed. General Robert Flynn, Admiral Stephen Marshall, and other prominent military figures participated in roundtables to analyze the lessons of the operation. It was clear, this victory was the result not only of advanced technology, but also of a deep understanding of human nature, the ability to adapt to any conditions and use even the smallest advantages to achieve the goal. Dr. Evan Brooks continued to work on improving the new systems, assuring that the results could become the foundation for building a defensive and offensive strategy for many decades to come. 2. The public speeches of Earth's leaders were landmark speeches, saying that the human journey is just beginning, that there are still many challenges ahead, but also discoveries. The speeches were full of determination and confidence. We have proved that we can protect our own, that we are ready to go to extreme measures to save every soldier. These words, filled with patriotism and faith in the future, became a source of inspiration for millions, arousing a sense of pride in their civilization and a desire to support it in any circumstances. The scientific community, which had been studying the technological breakthroughs of the rescue operation, began publishing studies on new methods of manipulating the space-time continuum developed on the basis of quantum physics. These works, filled with mathematical precision and deep theorizing, attracted the attention not only of scientists, but also of military strategists who saw in them the potential to create an entirely new type of military force. Joint projects between scientists from Earth and representatives of other civilizations became a reality, opening the door for international cooperation as the galactic balance of power began to change dramatically. Culturally, the rescue of Jasper Evans has come to symbolize the unity of all people, a sign that no barrier can stop the pursuit of freedom and justice. Movies, books, and even songs commemorating this historic event have been deeply emotional, celebrating the endless will of the human spirit. People around the world, from soldiers to scientists, from politicians to ordinary citizens, saw in this event a reflection of their hopes and dreams, confident that the future belongs to those who are not afraid to face the unknown. Meanwhile, amidst all these global changes, the rescued Jasper Evans, despite his physical fatigue and scars, became a symbol of a new era for Earth. His return was not just a victory in a military conflict, but proof that human courage and determination can change the course of history. His story inspired young fighters, encouraged scientists to explore new research, and leaders to make bold decisions that would perhaps change the face of the galaxy forever. Thus, the rescue of one soldier was the starting point for a whole turn of change, opening new horizons for civilizations and forcing enemies to rethink their ideas of power and capabilities. The Earth, which responded with a response that tipped the balance of power in the cosmos, proved to the world that even in the most hopeless conditions, a spark could be found to ignite the flame of a new future. And that spark, which awakened hope in the hearts of millions, promised that the struggle for freedom would never end, but would only begin a new, even brighter turn.